Welcome back to Pop Flashback. I'm your host, Rick Smalls, and while Tina Boucher couldn't join us today, we're still diving into a totally awesome topic: how 80s movies predicted the future. Think about it, those neon-soaked flicks gave us glimpses of flying cars and virtual reality, and even a world dominated by, well, reality TV. So let's fire up the DeLorean, crank up the synth pop, and see just how much those filmmakers got right. Okay, first off, 1989, Back to the Future Part 2. Remember Marty McFly cruising around on that hoverboard? I mean, who didn't want one of those after seeing that movie? Now, well, we haven't quite nailed the whole floating above ground thing, yet the film definitely tacked into our desire for personal, agile transportation. And hey, those self-balancing electric scooters we see everywhere these days are kind of a step in that direction, right? And speaking of things, Back to the Future Part 2 got right. How about those video calls on flat-screen TVs? I mean, that's basically Zoom, right? It's wild how a movie from 1989 predicted a communication tool that's become so essential in our lives today. But it wasn't all sunshine and hoverboards in Back to the Future Part 2. Remember that alternate 1985 where Biff becomes a power-hungry tycoon thanks to that sports almanac? It's a pretty chilling look at how even small changes to the past can create ripple effects with huge consequences. And the theme of media manipulation and societal control pops up in another 80s classic, They Live, directed by the legendary John Carpenter. This one takes a darker turn, imagining a world where aliens disguised as humans control society through subliminal messages hidden in advertising and TV. Now, before you start checking your neighbors for antenna, the movie isn't literally about extraterrestrials. It's a sharp commentary on consumerism and the power of media to influence our thoughts and desires, something that feels even more relevant today, right? I mean, think about how much we're bombarded with ads every day on our phones, our computers, everywhere. It definitely makes you wonder who's really pulling the strings, doesn't it? And while They Live focuses on subliminal messaging, The Running Man, released in 1987, tackles a different form of media manipulation, the rise of reality TV taken to a dystopian extreme. In the movie, convicted criminals are forced to fight for their lives on a deadly game show for the entertainment of the masses. It's a pretty brutal vision of the future, but it raises some interesting questions about our fascination with reality TV and how far we're willing to go in the name of entertainment. And let's be honest, some of those over-the-top personalities on the game show feel strangely familiar, don't they? It's like they predicted the rise of today's internet celebrities and influencers. Makes you think about how much of what we see online is real and how much is just for show. So we've got hoverboards, video calls, and some pretty thought-provoking commentary on media and society. But the 80s weren't done predicting the future just yet. Stay tuned because we're just getting warmed up. Hangry.
Hangry. Totally. And we're looking at their online shop today, and it's pretty wild. Got like everything you could think of, from t-shirts and sweatshirts to candles and stickers, and they've got, all this stuff with this really fun food-themed kind of spin on it.
Yeah.
It's interesting how they've taken what's a pretty negative emotion and spun it to be something.
To be something good.
Yeah, like something relatable and fun.
We're back and sticking with those 80s movie predictions. And, it turns out those filmmakers weren't just imagining cool gadgets. They were also tapping into some deeper anxieties about the future. Remember War Games from 1983? It's about a teenage hacker who accidentally accesses a military supercomputer and almost triggers World War III. Maybe we haven't had a global thermonuclear war sparked by a video game.
Yeah.
But the movie definitely foreshadowed our growing dependence on technology and the potential for cyber warfare. War games raise questions about artificial intelligence and the ethics of giving machines too much control. It's something we're still grappling with today as AI becomes more and more sophisticated. Now let's shift gears for a sec to a movie that predicted something a little more lighthearted, but still pretty spot on. Remember those self-lacing Nikes Marty McFly rocked in Back to the Future Part 2? Well, believe it or not, Nike actually released a limited edition version of those futuristic kicks back in 2016. They even had the power laces. Talk about making a childhood dream come true. But here's where things get interesting. While self-lacing shoes are cool, they're not exactly a game changer, right? What's really fascinating is how the movie predicted our obsession with wearable tech. From smartwatches to fitness trackers, we're constantly looking for ways to integrate technology into our lives, and Back to the Future Part 2 was definitely onto something with that. So from the potential dangers of AI to the rise of wearable tech, 80s movies gave us a glimpse into a future that's both exhilarating and a little bit unnerving. But there's one more prediction we need to talk about, and it's a big one. I'm talking about the rise of virtual reality. Tron from 1982 took us inside a digital world where programs battled for survival. It was groundbreaking for its time, and it definitely sparked our imagination. about the possibilities of virtual reality. And while VR headsets haven't quite become as ubiquitous as smartphones, the technology is evolving rapidly. We're seeing it used in gaming education, even healthcare. It's amazing to think that a movie from over 40 years ago could have predicted something that's still so cutting edge today. So from cyber warfare to wearable tech to the rise of virtual reality, those 80s filmmakers had some pretty impressive foresight, don't you think? Makes you wonder what predictions they might have made about our world today. What do you think? The 80s also gave us some heartwarming predictions, like the universal appeal of pizza. Remember that scene in Back to the Future Part 2, where Marty's future mom pops a tiny pizza into a Black & Decker hydrator and expands it to a full-size pie in seconds? Okay, so dehydrated pizza hasn't exactly caught on, but the movie nailed our enduring love for this cheesy, gooey goodness. And let's be real, who wouldn't love a pizza hydrator? It's the kitchen gadget we never knew we needed. So from the dark side of corporate greed to the simple joy of a hot pizza, 80s movies offered a mixed bag of predictions, some unsettling, some inspiring, and some just plain fun. It really makes you wonder, what will future generations say about the films we're watching today? What predictions will they see coming true? And what will they find amusingly off base? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What movie from today do you think is predicting something about our future? That about wraps up our 80s movie flashback. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Remember to like and subscribe so you can catch our next episode. See you next time.